Welcome everybody to another Scratch tutorial. In this tutorial, I will teach you how to make a platforming script. As you can see, I already came set up for this. I have our player and our level, each in the center of the screen, and I have the 3 variables that we will be using. Anyways, let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is when the green flag is clicked, now get a forever loop. Go to My Blocks and make a block. Name your block Platform. Make sure that you click Run Screen Without Refresh and then click OK. Put your platform block in. In the beginning of your code, grab 2 sets because you want to set X velocity and Y velocity to 0 each. Now, edit your platform block and add an input. Name your input gravity. Now in your gravity, make it -1. However, we don't have such a good position for our little square guy. So we want him to have a starting position. Maybe -50 instead. I think that went a bit too far. -25. That's better. Anyways, so what we want to do is change Y velocity by gravity and change Y by Y velocity. Now, as you can see, you have some really smooth gravity that has a nice little effect. However, you might notice that there's no collision for our little square. So, grab an if statement. If we are touching the level, then repeat until we are not touching the level. Change Y by 1. Now, as you can see, it stops when we hit there, but eventually it collides down. Like that. Why is this, you may ask? This is because eventually Y velocity becomes a large minus number. So it changes by Y velocity, but Y velocity is such a low number, it's not touching the level. So this statement is false. But what if Y velocity is nothing? So what I'm saying is over here, set Y velocity to 0. Now as you can see, when you touch it, nothing's happening. And this is a sign that you've done some nice Y collision. Now your next step in making a platformer is adding jumps. So if the key up arrow is pressed, then set Y velocity to, edit your block again, and add another input, jump height, like that. Now I'm going to set jump height to 13. Now set Y velocity to jump height. Now what this is going to do is make some smooth jumping. Why, you may ask? When the key up arrow is pressed, you're going to set y velocity to jump height. Y velocity is changed by gravity, so it's technically 12. So y changes by 12. Then it changes by -1, so it changes by 11. Then 10, then 9, then 8, then 7, then 6, until it gets to 0, and then it goes -1, -2, and it makes a smooth jumping effect. I'm going to save our project, and let's see how this looks. So if we click the up arrow, it goes up properly, but it slams through the roof. Now this is not normal. Why does this happen? Well, we're always changing y by 1 whenever we're touching the level, making it so that we can go through the roof. So we need to know if y velocity is negative or positive. If it's negative and we're touching the level, then you want to change y by 1. If not, then change y by -1. So to do this, you're going to need to learn 2 things. So any number divided by itself always equals 1. As you can see, I pulled out a divider. So if we do like 45 divided by 45, as you can see, okay, it's not giving me an output. There we go. It's finally giving me an output. So our output is 1. There we go. So it's 5. I know that abs does is turn any number positive. So this information can help us. So drag a divided operator and then put an abs of. Now abs of y velocity divided by y velocity. That. And a -1 if we're going down. However, this is not exactly what we want, because if we're going down, we don't want to move -1 when we're touching it. We want to move 1. So we just simply have to reverse this algorithm. Multiply it by -1. Now if we put this in instead of the 1, as you can see, success! Your character can no longer go through the roof, meaning that your code is nice. However, we have a problem. If you hold down the up arrow key, you notice that your character sticks to the roof. This is because we have our tolerance for our first bit of code, but it's not responding for this, because it still does it if it simply just touches the level. So we want to know if it's touching the bottom of the level. However, we set y velocity to 0 right before we detect it. Hang on. Okay, so what we want to do is replace it with an if then else. Key up arrow there and set y velocity to jump height there. Get rid of the if and set y velocity to 0 in the else. So this is the new code. It still works properly like that. But we still have that same bug issue. So the way we fix this is take the key up arrow out, get an and right there, key up arrow there, and if the abs of y velocity divided by y velocity equals -1, then do this. Now as you can see, when you hold it, it does not work. Only when it touches the ground again. Now you have covered the y movement. Now that we're done with y velocity, we can hide it. Now that we've got this thing done, we want to work on our x velocity variable. So now grab a set x velocity to. Now I don't really want to go on saying all of our times and stuff, so just put these operators down by what I do. Okay, so this may seem like it's going to be a really complicated script, but it's actually not. It's just getting our coordinates. So in platform, add 2 more inputs. I'm going to add an input movement. Now I'm going to add an input friction. Now we're going to do 2 and 0.85. Now over here in the times, do friction. Now grab a movement out, put the movement out over there, duplicate it, put it over there, and over here do -1. Grab your x velocity variable and put it there. Now I'm going to teach you something else. So if you do key space pressed, it's going to be a true or false statement. As you can see, our output is false when we click the key space pressed, but if we press space and click it, it's true. If we do key space press times 5, then it's a number. If we don't click space and click our times, it's 0, but if we do press space and click our times, it's 5. Now this information can help us because we can simply put key right arrow over there and key left arrow over there. Now as you can see, x velocity is changing for which key is pressed. However, our x is not changing. This is because we haven't really even gotten to this stage yet. So you want to change x by x velocity. As you can see, you have your jumping system. You can move left and right, and it's all cool. You have a really nice platforming script with us. However, although we can go up slopes easily, just like our problem with our Y, we can go up walls, which isn't exactly what we want. So yeah, let's fix this problem. So you can actually do it quite nicely, the algorithm that we got before. So just drag out this if then else so that you have this. Now before we continue, this if then else is sort of messy. It doesn't fit well with our code, so I'm going to change it. Take it out, get rid of the set y velocity to 0, take your set y velocity to jump height, put it back in, take out jump height. Replace it with a times. Put jump height on the right side. And with your new information about true or false, you can put this large input over there. And as you can see, it still works exactly the same. Anyways, now let's just fix that problem. So, as you can well imagine that this algorithm won't work because it's all for y. So, to start off, replace the change y with a change x. Then replace your y velocities with x velocities. Now put this in. As you can see, this method works quite effectively. As you can see, you can no longer go through walls. However, you can now no longer go up slopes. This is because it's treating a slope as a wall. Now that we're done with x velocity, we can hide it. And our final variable slope will allow slope detection. So we're not exactly going to make a slope detection. We're actually just going to make a tolerance. So edit your platform block for the last time. Add one more input, slope. Now, set slope to 8. I'm going to go with 8. Okay, so take this out for now, duplicate it, take this out, put it on, and then you can just put this back. Instead of not touching level, you want to grab an OR statement. Yes, put the not touching level back in. Now drag up an equals. Now before we continue, I almost forgot, set slope to 0 before we do this algorithm. So repeat until slope equals, or slope from the block, times -1. That. Now what you want to do is change y by 1 and change slope by -1. Now as you can see, you can go up slopes again. But you have this sort of weird thing where you go up to a wall. And we don't really want it. what's happening is it's detecting if it's a slope or not. So the way we can get rid of this is, first off, duplicate our if touching level statement. I'm gonna put it around like that. However, that doesn't fix a thing. So what we want to do is over here, change y by slope. Now, as you can see, we can go left and right. We can't go through a wall like that. We can go up slopes nicely, and finally, our thing is fixed. And we can't go through the wall. Now this is perfect. Now this is a really, really nice thing. It's a nice, simple way to make a smooth platformer thing. Now we can hide our slope variable, and we're basically done. So we can save the project, and it's really nice and satisfying. However, this is part 1 because we are going to add a couple more stuff in the next tutorial, like maybe wall jumping and coins. Anyways, thank you for watching this nice and simple platforming tutorial. If you liked it, make sure to leave a like. Also, subscribe to our channel. Make sure of it. Anyways, peace.